We're going to start with our homemade granola that is super, super easy to make at home and very interchangeable with different ingredients. Without further ado, let's get on with the granola. So first we're going to add together all of our dry ingredients into one bowl, and then we're going to mix up our wet ingredients, which is just going to be the olive oil, maple syrup, and vanilla extract. So we've got 3 cups already measured out here of the rolled oats. Next, we're going to take a half cup of pumpkin seeds, a half cup of almonds, and a half cup of sesame seeds as well. All right, now these are going to get nice and toasty in the oven, so you don't want to start with toasted sesame seeds. You want to go with the raw variety. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of sea salt. Now it's a half teaspoon, but I'm just going to grate it in there and kind of eyeball what is a half teaspoon. I love this Himalayan pink sea salt right here. When you're using sea salt, you do just want to make sure that you're using just salt. There's no other funny business going on in the salt. So a Himalayan pink sea salt is very pure and very good for you. We're also going to do some garam masala. Now garam masala is a really nice sort of curry-ish blend. This one is from the Spice House, and I love the Spice House. If you're looking for great spices, it's online. I get a lot of my spice mixtures there. And so this one is garam masala, and it means warming spices. So garam masala is going to get a half of a teaspoon. I'm going to add that right in there. If you don't have garam masala, that's okay. It just adds a really special, unique touch to this particular recipe for granola. And then we're also going to add a quarter of a teaspoon of cinnamon. All right, now I'm measuring here because we're following the recipe, but at home it can also be just a pinch of this, a dash of that, and you just really want to get some of that great flavor in there. But however you make it at home is all you. Add in our half cup coconut in this. There you go. And we're going to mix this all up. Now, in this recipe, we do use olive oil. Another type of oil that you could use here might be an avocado oil. We don't really use vegetable oil. It's going to give it a more mild flavor. However, it's not going to have all that nutrient density that olive oil does. Now, always with olive oil, you're going to choose extra virgin. This is just a really simple brand from Whole Foods. Doesn't need to be anything fancy, but I always go with the extra virgin. Why? Because that means it's less processed. As soon as it is not extra virgin, it means it's been treated by heat or other processes. So we want to always make sure to use that extra virgin. And we are going to combine in a separate bowl half cup here of extra virgin olive oil. And you do want to make sure that you're using a good quality extra virgin olive oil. I said simple is okay, but definitely getting one that's from a single source and is in a dark bottle. Keep it covered, keep it in the cupboard so that it stays fresh. We're also going to add in some maple syrup, and we are going to add in a half cup plus 1 tablespoon. All right. With maple syrup is not the same as pancake syrup. So again, you just want to make sure that all that's in there is that 100% maple syrup. This one is a Vermont style. There's a lot of different maple syrups you can get, but you definitely want to make sure that it's always just maple syrup. We're going to add in 1 more tablespoon for good measure. It's a half cup plus 1 tablespoon. And then we're going to go ahead and do 3/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And that's all that goes in for the wet ingredients. We'll go ahead and whisk this. Now you might be wondering, what am I doing with these cherries? They're just still sitting there. I am going to add in the cherries at the very end when the granola only has a few minutes left to cook. We don't want those cherries to get too overly cooked. They'll just shrivel right up. So we're going to add those in at the very end of cooking. So I'm going to add in my wet ingredients to my dry. And we're just going to give that a stir. So you can see this recipe is very, very simple. It's something that you could make with different ingredients that you might have at your house if you keep nuts and seeds on hand. Very interchangeable. You know, if you don't have the garam masala, that is okay. On there. Now this granola, if you store it in an airtight container, it will last for quite a while in the pantry. So it makes a big batch here, and you can use it for weeks to come. It goes great on top of ice cream or yogurt, if that's your thing, on top of the acai bowl. So what you're going to use for the cooking, I've already preheated my oven to 350, and we are going to use parchment-lined baking sheets. This is a non-bleached version that you can get at Whole Foods and other natural stores. And that's going to help protect that pan and make sure that the maple syrup doesn't stick to the pan. Boy, maple syrup is actually really good for you, and it's a great option when you want to make something sweet. Layer so that it's all flat and it's all going to get nice and toasty in the oven. So we're going to cook it for 40 minutes total at 350, but we are going to check it every 15 minutes just to make sure that it's cooking evenly. We might want to turn the pan, give it a nice little stir. So I have preset my oven at 350 and let it get nice and warm. Now I'm just going to put in the granola to the oven, and you can see it's in a very nice flat layer. And I'm going to add one to each shelf. Now at that 15-minute mark, I'm going to check it. I might stir it. I may even flip them depending on how they're cooking, just to make sure that they're cooking evenly. So I'm going to set this timer at 15 minutes for the first round, and we're going to check it at that time. All right, so the 15-minute timer went off. We're going to check the granola. Going to give it a little stir here, make sure no edges are burning. And I'm actually going to switch the top and the bottom rack. Put this one on the bottom. And you know, it's really toasting up nicely. I can see that it's starting to turn a golden brown. So I'm going to set it for 10 more minutes. At that time, we are going to add our cherries. So we're going to let that go for another 10 minutes and give it a check. So it started browning up real nicely. I think it needs just another couple minutes, but I'm going to add in my cherries at this point here. Now remember at the beginning I said we didn't want to put in the cherries too early because they will get really shriveled up if they cook that long. So we're going to do about 3/4 of a cup of cherries, and then what we're going to do is just combine all of these together. I'm going to actually combine the two and stir them up. Let's say another 3 minutes just to get those cherries incorporated. And I'm going to set that timer so that I don't overcook them. 3 minutes and counting, and there we go. Okay, it is ready. Look at this granola. You can see it's nice and toasty, golden brown. It's nice and crispy. And the cherries, they could be raisins, they could be cranberries, but today we're using cherries. They're nice and soft still, and it's just ready to go. We're going to add it to our acai bowl in a little while, and then you'll have plenty of it to go around for the next week. Oh, I can't wait to eat this.